Chapter 10, Studio Magic. The beat started as nothing more than a hum from Dre's speakers. A skeleton, snare and bass, looping endlessly like footsteps down an empty street. Josh nodded along, tapping his finger against his thigh, but his mind was elsewhere. Micah sat cross-legged on the studio couch, notebook open in her lap, pen poised like she was in class. But her gaze wasn't on the page. It was on him. "Something missing?" she asked. Josh exhaled, rubbing the back of his neck. "Yeah. I got the rhythm. Got the flow in my head. But the hook?" He shook his head. "It ain't stickin'. Don't matter how dope the verse is, if the hook doesn't catch, track's dead." He slumped into the chair beside her. For once, the weight of his frustration showed. The man who usually carried confidence like armor looked tired. "Let me see what you got so far," Micah said gently. He slid his notebook across the table. She scanned the lines, her lips moving silently as she read. The words were raw, jagged, dripping with his grind and his grit, late nights, Bay's laughter, the hustle of survival, the fear of failing. "It's real," she said softly. "It's you. But you're right. It needs a bridge. Something that lifts it higher." Josh leaned back, arms crossed. "Exactly. Problem is, I ain't got it." Micah tapped her pen against the page. "Maybe you're trying too hard to wrap it. What if you let it breathe? Let it speak?" He raised a brow. "Like poetry?" She grinned. "Like poetry." For the next hour, the studio turned into a battlefield of words and rhythm. Micah scribbled lines, crossing them out, rewriting, and reading them aloud. Josh paced, muttering half-verses, testing how syllables hit against the beat. Dre leaned back, amused, tossing in commentary now and then. "You two sound like a married couple already," he joked as Micah and Josh argued over a phrase. "We are not," they said in unison, then glanced at each other, both blushing. Finally, Micah stood, gripping her notebook. "Listen." Her voice flowed steady, not in rhyme but in cadence, sharp, direct, aching. "Love doesn't hide in shadows, it burns in the dark. Not blind, not quiet, it speaks from the heart. It's the weight you carry, the choice you make. The vow that holds when everything breaks." The words hung heavy in the air. Josh froze, then slowly nodded. "That's it," he whispered. "That's the hook." When she stepped into the booth, she was shaking. She wasn't used to microphones, to Dre's voice crackling through the intercom, to Josh watching her with eyes that burned. But then the beat dropped, and she closed her eyes. She wasn't Micah the student anymore. She was Micah the poet, spilling truth into the mic. Her voice rode the rhythm, raw and unpolished, but alive. Josh followed her, stepping into the booth beside her. When his verse cut in, it was seamless. Her spoken lines wove into his rap like threads in the same fabric. Her softness balanced his grit, his rhythm lifted by her truth. For the first time, it wasn't her poem or his rap. It was theirs. By the time the track finished, silence filled the studio. Even Dre, who'd heard 1,000 sessions, leaned forward, eyes wide. "Y'all don't even know what you just did," he said slowly. "That right there? That's a hit. Not just underground, a hit." Josh's chest swelled, pride and disbelief colliding. He turned to Micah, grinning widely. "See? Told you poets and rappers were the same song." She laughed, flushed, adrenaline buzzing through her veins. "Guess we just wrote it." Dre replayed the track. The sound filled the room, gritty, haunting, beautiful. Micah's voice threading like smoke, Josh's bars cutting sharp, the beat carrying them both. Josh glanced at her, softer now. "You realize this means you're stuck with me, right? I can't drop this track without you." Micah arched a brow. "So what, you're making me your feature artist now?" "Feature?" He shook his head, a smile lingering. "Nah. Your co-writer. Equal. This ain't just my track, it's ours. The sincerity in his tone made her chest tighten. She wasn't just his distraction anymore. She was part of his music, part of his grind, part of his future. Later that night, walking back under the glow of streetlights, Micah hugged her notebook to her chest. You ever think, she said softly, that maybe all the stuff people say about us, the doubts, the warnings, it doesn't matter? Josh looked at her, serious. It doesn't. 'Cause they don't know us. They don't hear what we just made. She met his gaze, and for once, the noise of the city faded. Maybe Dre was right. Maybe they didn't even know what they'd just done. But Micah knew one thing. This was only the beginning.